Well, hello again, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Pelt Music Podcast. I'm absolutely delighted that in a moment I'll be joined by the fantastic Calva Louise to talk about their new album, Edge of the Abyss. But before then, the usual reminders from myself. If you would, please do follow Pelt on social media. We're on Facebook at Pelt and on X and Instagram at Pelt Music. And again, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening. But right now, let's get into that chat and let's go. Welcome to Calva Louise. We've got Alizon and Ben with us today to the Pelt Music Podcast. Absolutely delighted, as I say, to have you on because it's an exciting time for the band at the moment. So lots that we can talk about. But the first question for me is always really simple. How are you today?
Yeah, doing good actually. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, great. We're about to go practice for our upcoming US tour soon after
Yeah.
this interview. So yeah, doing good.
Yeah, US tour, new album. You've just played 2000 Trees, so it is an exciting time. How was 2000 Trees for you?
Yeah, it was great actually. Thanks. Yeah. It's a really special festival. Like we've always felt really at home there. And just the energy and the people there is just always great.
Yeah, we always seem to meet a lot of friends as well, other artists that we know, and it's a great time to just,
So catch up with
catch up with
people.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is such a beautiful festival, and yeah, glad you had a really, really good time. So we're going to work through obviously everything that's going on with the band at the moment and get back around to the sort of the live side of things to close us out. But I wanted to drag across. We have two podcasts, and in our sister podcast, we have something a segment called the Origin Story. But I want to drag it into this podcast because the origin story for Calva Louise is just crazy when you think about the lengths that you've all gone through to come together. So just for listeners that might not be familiar with the story behind Calva Louise, can you just give us a little bit of a flavour of how the three of you came to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts with Jess. She grew up in Venezuela. Started playing music there, doing shows, like writing music when she was, a young teenager. And then she quickly wanted to move to England, actually, but she still had to finish school. And her dad's French, so she moved to France, which was closer to England, when she was 16, and ended up in a very weird old school where I was already. And so she ended up in my class, and that's how we met. And then I'd been looking for a musician to start a band for, like a few years at this point. And she was the first person I met who was actually dedicated to, doing it for real and not just play, whenever. And so we immediately became friends and started playing music together. And then she told me about, you know, the fact that she wanted to go to England and stuff. She actually, I was teaching myself guitar, and she actually, well, she's like, "Oh, do you want to play bass?" I was like, "I never played bass in my life." And she was like, "It's fine. Here's a bass, like a cheap bass she had," and uh, and then I learned from that, and then yeah, we played in France around for a few years, and then when we were like around like early 20, like just about 20, we started doing trips to the UK to kind of understand how it worked, how the music scene worked. We had no money, no contact. I didn't speak English. It was just nothing. Um, and then we, and then we just took trips to London. Eventually moved to London for real. Uh, and then just went to loads of open mics, just the two of us, trying to get gigs, trying to meet people. And that's how we met Ben on the scene.
Yeah.
You take
Yeah,
it from
so
here.
yeah. So meanwhile, I was born in England. I grew up in New Zealand. I spent my whole childhood there because my mum's from New Zealand, my dad's English, mum's from New Zealand, and then we eventually they moved back over to the UK and ended up settling in London. So obviously, as a 14-year-old, 15-year-old boy, I just followed them, came with them, and then I started doing music or wanting to do music seriously as well. And after sort of like a string of a string of other bands. Eventually, the band I was playing in at the time shared a stage with these guys at the Underbelly in Hoxton in London, and that's how we met basically. So we just our two bands shared the same bill, and we made friends there. Alizon couldn't speak English at the time, so yeah, I didn't really speak to you much. Just smiled, waved,
Yeah.
and then but yeah, Jess could speak English already, so I got Jess's contact, and then I don't know, like what, a couple of months later or something.
Yeah,
I
something like
think
that.
Jess called me out of the blue, and she was like, "Help! We need we need someone to play drums on our demos, and we don't have a drummer, so help!" And yes, I did that, learned the songs, and met up with you guys,
Yeah,
and it was
that
good
was
fun.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the rest, as they say, is history. But I think there's such a powerful message behind that origin story of people being, encouraged to chase their dreams and obviously persevere through challenges, to be able to do what you want to do. Come from sort of three different corners of the world, come together. It's just a beautiful story and a lot better than the origin stories we often hear on the other podcast, where we were at
We
school
met near
together,
uni.
or yeah, yeah.
met down
So
the pub.
exactly. So no, I just wanted to make sure fans, had that shared because obviously it all leads to, um, obviously Edge of the Abyss, your latest album that's come out, which we've obviously raved about in our review. Really, really love. Such an eclectic mix of an album. Like it's just something you can really sink your teeth into as a music fan and just start pick up on something new each sort of listen that you go through. So yeah, obviously I've certainly enjoyed it, and I've seen that a lot of sort of positive press and critique out there around the album. It's been out for a little over a week now. So how have you found the reaction to the new album?
Yeah, it's been great. It's interesting because it's the first time we do sort of all these interviews and press, meet up and interviews before, like ahead of the release, even now that it's released. And so we've had like more feedback than ever on the released music.
Yeah,
And everybody's been so nice and so interesting in their feedback, like you just said, everybody's commenting on different aspects of the music and the recording and the sounds and it's just been really, really heartwarming to see, like to hear all the feedback from, you know, all the press that we had. And then the fan, obviously, last week. Yeah, it's been really good. Like a lot of people have taken the time to write proper feedback on our Discord specifically on how, how they feel about the album and what they think and how they can relate and all that. And it's just such a pleasure to read, honestly. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it must feel, like vindication really for that journey that we just discussed, all coming to all falling in place now. Absolutely fantastic to hear. And the creative process that the three of you go through is obviously, really driven and led by yourselves. But this time around, you did also work with Gareth from Pendulum on the album. What was it like bringing someone else into that creative process, and what was it like working obviously with Gareth?
so Gareth, it was an incredible experience, to be honest. So Gareth actually got in touch with us firstly because he saw one of the videos. Was it TikTok? I think it was TikTok.
Yeah,
And
it
then
must have been stuck.
yeah, the Jess, as you may or may not know, Jess makes all of our video content, music videos, everything else. So he kept getting videos from us, and he saw them, and then I think he got in touch with Jess on Insta, I think it was,
Yeah.
and yeah, he invited us out for dinner one night, so we joined him for dinner, and he was just like the nicest guy ever. And he was like, I just love what you guys are doing. And if you need any advice or any help with anything, I wanna be there. And yeah, it just kind of led to him becoming involved with the next record, which was Edge of the Abyss. And yeah, he's just been such a great help, such a great mentor. Um, he's full of useful advice that he was willing to share with us, and you know,
So yeah, and he helped us loads by getting the best out of our cheap equipment at home, because we record everything at home. I mean, it's probably useful to just go over the process quickly, but he also got involved on the production mix, and he co-wrote 2 songs with Jess on the album as well. So the way we do things is also the way that we did the mixtape. Is that we record everything at home, and Jess will typically write the song just on a computer on Logic. She'll have a session. She'll write, all her parts. Like she'll put like ideas for drums, for bass, for anything that she wants, and then once it's all kind of there, then she'll pass the session on to us, and then we can like sort of figure out our parts, like like write some bass, some drums,
write some changes
record
or whatever.
record our parts. So all at home, and then we send our stems back to Jess, and then she'll like edit them, put them in the session or whatever, add something else, or sometimes we'll go back and forth and change a few things on the drums and the bass. And then once this is all finished, she'll export the stems and send them to Mazar, who co-produced the record. So he also co-produced the mixtape, and then he was involved again on this album. And then once he's done his thing, his stems come back to us, and then we send them to Gareth, who will do like his thing, like another layer of production and mixing. And then once that's done, he will send the stems to Dean, who's his brother-in-law, who was the mastering engineer on this album at Mechanica Studios. And he will do the final layer of mastering, with final tweaks and stuff. And he's amazing. Like honestly, like all this team was incredible to work with. And the funny thing is that we never met in person. Well, we met Gareth before, but like we've never met Mazar in person before. And everybody was working remotely because Gareth was on tour. We were on tour as well at some point. Mazar is in Italy. And so the stems were just like, it was just, transfers and like WhatsApp groups and like late night calls, late night mixing sessions. Whenever, Gareth was available or someone was available. But yeah, so it took a while, but we got there.
Yeah, it was great. It's an interesting process. Like at times slightly chaotic, but it was great. It was great, and there was no. Obviously, we had the overall delivery deadline of the record, but there was no immediate time pressure. Like if you go into a studio and you've got 4 days to record 100 songs, whatever it is. So that was kind of nice to be able to just like work at home and just there was that element which was more relaxed and comfortable, I should say.
Yeah, absolutely. It really amazes me, what can be done in 2025. Technology has changed the way that many industries operate, but the music industry, massively. I think COVID, as bad as it was, obviously drove that journey along quite a bit for a lot of artists, and obviously learned that there's new ways that you can do things, and obviously get to work with other people. And I love obviously the feedback there on Gareth's intervention and work with you, because there is some really good people out there in the industry that really just love what they do and they want to help bands such as yourself. I mean, obviously there's some awful people out there as well. So it's good when you can put the spotlight on someone good like Gareth. Obviously this helped, and obviously the journey of this album is fantastic. Listeners, I do plug throughout this podcast quite a lot, and obviously if you haven't heard this yet, listeners, which I'd be surprised if you hadn't, if you're listening to this podcast, but do go and check it out. You've got to listen to this album. It's absolutely fantastic. And one of the things that I picked up on when I listened to that album was just there's certain songs there that I thought, I really want to hear this song live. It just sounds like it's going to be like really stunning in a live setting. So obviously you've been able to go out and play some of these songs now at Trees, as we discussed, and some other shows over the last sort of 6 months. Have the songs of this record translated across to the stage the way that you thought they would?
I think so. Like from the ones we've prepared for live already. I think they have. It's always an interesting process taking a song from, from after recording the studio version and preparing it for the live performance, because it's some things are subject to small changes, or maybe there'll be some kind of synth line that one person plays that they wouldn't normally have played, or something like that, because there's only three of us on stage. But between the three of us, we have quite a lot of means to execute a lot of sounds. So, for example, Jess and Alizon both have the use of keys, and then me and Alizon both also have the ability to play samples. So we can kind of Tetris the parts between us, just like kind of separate them out and see like who's got a free hand at this point, what can we do? How much can we play live, and then I don't know, it's just yeah, small little tweaks. Like one riff might end slightly before the end of the phrase, just to give us time to swap or something like that. Small, like tiny little things. It's like a logistical puzzle. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's actually what we're going to do today after the call. We're going to work on a few new ones for the US.
No, so exciting. I love the analogy there of Tetris. It does, like in my head, yeah, it makes perfect sense what you're doing there. Like you say, breaking it down and then trying to fit it together, who can do which bit, and obviously bring these songs to life on stage. Which again, another plug for me, listeners, will be to try and catch the band and catch these songs live. And to give you a bit more of a taste, I just wanted to pick up on sort of two of the tracks from the album, just to ask some questions around. The first one being Under the Skin, because it was the first track that emerged from the album. And it's a question that I always love to sort of pull in, because um, when you obviously make a piece of art, an EP or an album, these songs are kind of like your children, but you always need that first one to sort of send out into the world to say, this is what we're doing now as a band. This is what we're sounding like in 2025. And it's a bit like, how do you pick your favorite child? So I always like the question of, why was that song chosen to be that first taste of the album?
I mean,
It was one of the two tracks that Gareth co-wrote with Jess.
yeah,
Um, and I think it was probably one of the first to take shape.
yeah. I think it would have
Um,
been the first song to kind of like emerge, like be kind of
like
finished.
yeah,
Um, but it was a great way to sort of kickstart the album cycle as well, just because of Gareth's involvement. Um, and then story-wise, because we haven't talked about that, but there's a big story going through the music and everything the band does. But story-wise, it's also the video links the previous, like the mixtape and Edge of the Abyss. Because the mixtape is set in like the future, so you got all this sci-fi, story, and then Under the Skin kind of finishes that bit of sci-fi, and then at the end goes back to the 90s where the rest of the videos and the rest of the story is set for the album. So it was a cool way to link the two as well together.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And you're really right in the sense of we need to talk about this story. And I've got a question sort of next around the videos, because people that watch this podcast regularly know that I'm a music video geek. I love music videos. I grew up watching music videos on Kerrang and Scuzz and things before school, after school. But it's really a dying art now. I mean, I talk to a number of bands on this podcast and they go, right, let me find a video I can talk to them about. And there isn't any because, time, money, effort, etc. A lot of bands, aren't really bothering these days. But obviously with Calvin, I mean, I can't pick a single video to talk to you about because obviously, they're all so stunning. And like you say, they all fit into that narrative, that story that flows through the album. It's obviously such an ambitious sort of project to go and link the visual side of what bands do with the obviously the on record side, as I'd say. So I mean, the latest video you've put out 2 days ago, just to lead us into sort of the main video question, but you've just released Hate in Me 2 days ago. So we're going to feature that on our next edition of Full Pelt TV, and just to give us a little bit of an idea of what the song is about. What can you tell us about that song, Hate in Me?
Mhm. Well, I mean, that would be a question for Jess, obviously, writing it. But I mean, when it comes to the video for this one, it's a little bit different because it's more of a performance video. It doesn't include itself into the narrative as much as the rest. But thanks for featuring it. Um, yeah, I mean, I would, yeah, I would have
It
to let
takes yeah,
answer,
it takes place
but
in the same like environment as the narrative videos.
yeah.
It was shot at or around the same time, in the same location, and yeah, it's just I think it's like what we've found as well historically. It's good to have a balance of performance videos to narrative videos or conceptual videos because some people just like to see you play. Like
Yeah.
that's it, you know. Um, and I think so many bands do that. They split that up, and I think it's really important to do that. Um, so Hate and Me, it just yeah, it just kind of felt right to rock out on that on that one, you know.
And funny enough, this is the second song that Jess wrote with Gareth.
Yeah, yeah. Two was two.
Um, yeah, which was very, this one was very interesting to take shape. Um, there was this like big riff, and then you know, and then Jess took it away and just added. I really didn't know. It's funny because the instrumental came together first. Like Gareth and just sort of like worked on that on those parts, and then the structure was kind of finished, but there wasn't any vocals. And then after listening to that, I really thought I have no idea where Jess is going to go with the vocals on this, and I really couldn't. I had no idea what was going to happen, and so I remember discovering this song once Jess was finished with the vocal, and I was like, yeah, all right, that's great, you know. So yeah, it's just sounds really fun the way it came together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I love that. And yeah, as you've touched upon there, music videos, then you've obviously got the narrative style videos, you've got the live style videos, and then my favorites often are the ones that combine a bit of both into one. But obviously, what you've done across this package of videos that accompany this album is just quite remarkable. I imagine it was an enormous challenge to be able to put it all together and make it work. So, I mean, the question is, how on earth did you pull it off?
Well,
It was kind of
sleepless nights, a good friend.
sleepless nights, good friends. It's breaking things down into pieces, you know. It's just making things into smaller. I mean, each video was its own shoot. It wasn't as if everything was filmed in 2 weeks. There were pockets of shoot days and stuff. So it was kind of like, yeah, just breaking it down into more manageable chunks and doing things one bit at a time, you know.
Well, the thing is also is that the songs, the story is there from the creation of the songs. It's not just slapping a story on top of music, it's all intrinsically, it exists already there, and it's more about um like showing it, having different means to show it. And so I think when Jess writes the song, the story's already within that. And so so the way we work with video is that Jess will write the script, and then she'll direct the video. We'll shoot it together with friends. Just us really. It's like small crew of like 5 people, or just us in the street with a camera, and then once we're done with that crazy 2 or 3 days of running around, then Jess will take the footage and just edit it and add all this crazy sci-fi VFX, CGI. It's just her on the computer upstairs, Um, yeah, and then that's how it all comes together, really. And there's no, there's no like, no big budget, anything. We always have to figure everything out. And it's always funny because the videos, we always end up doing some like, the most random things ahead of videos. Like,
Yeah.
for example, for Tunnel Vision, just for this door scene at the end of the script and we're like, okay, we need a door that just kind of, and then you're like, okay, how are we gonna find a door? So I ended up driving to like, I don't know, like 45 minutes away to pick up a free door on the Facebook Marketplace, strap it to the roof of my little tiny car, and then drive it back. And it's just stuff like that all the time, to just figure it out, make it work. But yeah, it's always interesting.
No, I love the little stories like that, that they're having to go get a door off Facebook Marketplace and things. It's what makes it all so much more sort of personable and real what you've made. And I say honestly, as a music video geek, I just love music videos. I honestly have to applaud you for the efforts you've gone through. The videos are absolutely stunning. They complement the music so well. And listeners, again, if you've heard the album but you haven't watched the videos, there's a link in the bio of this episode. You need to go and watch these videos and spend some time. Watch them a few times because you'll pick up on different bits each time. Because well worth that time in doing so. So yeah, no, thank you for the videos and obviously all that we've talked about. We said we'd come around and finish up on the live side. Now, obviously, listeners, hopefully this has whetted your appetite, and you're going to want to catch Calva Louise live at a show coming up. You've touched on obviously got some US states coming up. I know you're playing with Stray from the Path as well, coming up in sort of November or autumn time. Obviously, again, listeners, link in the bio. Go find a date, come to a show if you can. What would you say listeners should expect if they come to a Calva Louise show?
It's a good question. I mean,
I'd say a lot of the new songs live from the latest record, high energy, um, and hope you brushed up on your Spanish.
Yeah, well, I must say, I mean, you touched on earlier, obviously, Alizon, when you come across to the UK and you hadn't yet learned English. I mean, it amazes me. Your English is better than my English, and I've spent my entire life in the UK, so like incredible effort on your part. And yeah, my Spanish is definitely not ready. But I absolutely love the sort of cross-pollination of the obviously English and Spanish lyrics within the songs as well. Just adds a whole nother dynamic to them. So again, so much for listeners to invest in with Calva Louise, and hopefully, I say there's links in the bio. Listeners, go and fully invest in this band because they deserve your time. And with that said, I just got to thank you for your time today for coming on the podcast. It's been an absolute pleasure talking through all of this with you. I always like to give the final message low over to the guests. So, what would be your final message for the listeners today?
well, I mean, thank you for listening, and
Yeah, thanks for your support. I hope you're really digging the new records, and we'll hope to
and
see you at a show soon.
join the Discord.
Another Discord, yeah.
I always plug the Discord.
The Discord.
Absolutely.
So we've got a Discord where that's kind of like it's a great platform for us because we can actually talk to people, and people can come and ask questions directly to us, and then we're on it at least every 3 days. We're trying to keep up with it, but we also got loads of information about the story and the lore and the characters. So if you want to dig a bit deeper, then it's a great place for it. And then we're there if you want to chat.
Yeah, no, fully encourage listeners. We said about the magic of 2025 and what can be done. Things like Discord and Patreon, the fact that bands can connect with a community of fans, now unlike anything in the past is absolutely fantastic. And I always like to sign off with the social handles, and sometimes I have to give out 5 or 6 different social handles, but thankfully you've got a unique band name. So listeners, it is literally Calva Louise across all the social channels. Please do go follow the band, find a show, head along to a show, listen to the album, watch the videos. Thank you so much, Ben, Alizon, for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Well, thank you everyone for listening. I really do hope you enjoyed that chat there with Calva Louise. Do, of course, make sure you check out their new album, Edge of the Abyss, which is out now, and follow the band across social media to stay up to date with everything coming from them. You can also stay up to date with Full Pelt. We're on Facebook at Full Pelt and on X and Instagram at Full Pelt Music. Finally, from me, if you would, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, wherever you're watching or listening, because we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Full Pelt Music Podcast.